Welcome again, everyone. Great job so far. So, today we are going to continue to integrate all that we've learned so far and add some new concept as we go along. Okay. So, in this video, we're going to deal with just question one, and then another video will deal with question two for day 9. Okay. So, let's quickly go into this use case. The category manager needs an overview of product count by category and subcategory to identify portfolio imbalances and opportunities for SKU rationalization. So, your task is to deliver a portfolio distribution report with category or subcategory count. Now, essentially, what we want here is to be able to count the number of products at the level of subcategory and category, and then your answers must be able to show that even if we have at the level of category, right, we can see the highest number, the subcategory that have the highest number of product. Okay, so we have to factor all of that in. So we're going to move straight to our data model, and then we go back to our lab. All right, let's quickly do that. So if we look at our data model here, we can see this is where we have all of our products, right? So you can see this is where you have the product category, the product subcategory, and the product itself. That quickly tells us that we'll need this table and we need this table. All right, and then we need this table for us to be able to count the number of products, and then we need to make sure that we are pulling. This is where we have the description for subcategory, description for category, and then we need to make sure that it's ordered properly. All right, so now let's quickly go to our lab. Now let's start with the category first of all, because we've not seen that data up until now. So we'll say select start from category, and then that will be under production, I believe. Schema, let's quickly look for production. All right, and then we can see our product category and product subcategory. So let's quickly go to product category and have a look. Awesome, we can see we just have four categories, right? And yeah, let's also quickly check. Let's comment out this and let's remove this guy, and then let's also pull in the subcategory so we can see the subcategory. Awesome, we can see we have couple about 37 subcategories. Now let's begin to design our solution. Okay, so let's do that. All right, now I'm just gonna run this again, and then we'll put the necessary columns that we need. Okay, so from seeing these data, we can tell that we need this product category ID and then the name as the product category. Okay, so let's quickly pull that from product category columns here. We'll pull this guy, and then we also pull the name, and then we can just call it product description. All right, and then we can run that should work. Okay, great. Now we also know the relationship that this category has with subcategory is going to be one to many. Okay, so we're going to do a left outer join. All right, we'll do it with subcategory, and then we'll call these sub. We can just call it sub pro. Okay, and then we'll call this category. Actually, we just call this sub. It's okay, and then we'll have on, and then we'll say cat dot, and then we just reference this product category ID equals to sub dot, and then product category ID. And then with that, we can this we need to specify as cat dot, because that's our product description, we're pulling it from the product category. All right, and then here we'll also have our sub dot name as well, and then we'll say as, and then we just copy this if we don't want to retype, and then we just call this sub. All right, and let's run that quickly. Okay, this is, we need to be explicit with this column as well. Okay, now we can see, beautiful guys, we are doing really well. All right, now we then need to do the count. Okay, we need to connect to the product itself, so let's quickly do that. All right, and then we'll pull in the product here, product. Okay, we just pull in the product itself, and then we call it P, and then we'll say on. And at this point, if when you look at the product itself, we need the subcategory. You can say the subcategory, so we can say P dot subcategory ID equals to, and sub is the one that is connected to product, and then we also reference the same so we reference the same subcategory ID. In some instances the name may be different, so feel free to go to, in this case you go to the product subcategory and then choose the relevant column you need to use to join. All right, now we can then also pull in the product ID itself. Okay, and we say this is P dot product ID, and then we can see the product ID. We do know from our previous session that the product ID, because it's the PK for product, is going to be unique, so we don't need to worry about whether it has duplicate or not. Okay, so at this point what we're going to do is that we're then going to just do a count. Okay, and we call this number of products. Okay, and then because we are adding an aggregation function here, we need to add group by, don't forget that. So we'll say group by, and then we'll say 1, 2, and 3, and also we'll say order by, and then we'll say 4 in descending order. Okay, or you can also just reference number of products. Okay, either should work. Let's run this, and this is great. Now the last point here is that we need to make sure that we first of all order by product category ID, and then making sure that we can also then, from that, if we have the same product category, what is the highest, which subcategory, which sub product category has the highest product. Now to do that, you then just so we do have our product ID as number 1, so we can say order that by ascending order, and then order the count by in descending order. So let's quickly run that, and as you can see, if you look at this category and look at the subcategory, out of the subcategory you can see there is a road bikes that is that has the highest product, and that's exactly what we are looking for. All right guys, that is the solution to this use case. I hope you find it really useful. Thank you for listening and watching, and I will see you in the next session.